Mitch, what's going on?
Not much, dude. Just trying to get the ball rolling on the first podcast.
True. So, welcome to the first episode of the Nymore Boys podcast. My name is Tyler with
Mitch as well.
Mitch Webb.
Yeah.
And we are available anywhere that podcasts are available. As far as I know, we should be on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Anchor. What other ones? There's Stitcher.
There's on YouTube too.
And YouTube, yes. Obviously, if you're watching this visually, it's on YouTube, which is my personal favorite way to watch podcasts personally. But
yeah. And we're going to work on trying to get clips up to Twitter and Facebook as well.
Yep. And Instagram.
And yeah,
so
and the Gram.
If you're watching this on YouTube, all of our links are already in the description, as well as my Instagram link and Mitch's Instagram link. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify or whatever the other platforms are, our podcast Instagram name is Nymore Boys, at Nymore Boys, Facebook at Nymore Boys, Twitter at Nymore Boys. So
it's all the same.
It's all the
it's
same.
Not hard to get confused.
I was pretty excited that we could get all the same handles because normally when you get on there and you try to make something, every single social media is different.
It's
but
hard.
we were able to get all the same. So we were talking about a little bit yesterday about college.
Yeah.
And this is a topic that gets me absolutely fired up.
Riled up or what?
So you never went to college, correct?
No.
So I did. I went to school for 1 year, and nothing against the college that I went to. It was actually a great time. But I think that our school system, as far as high school, they really jam it into your brain that you need to go to college to be successful. And I just don't think that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I completely agree. I remember going back in high school. I was 16, 17, 18 years old, kind of more on the back tail end of my high school career, as you could say. And I remember all the time we had all these teachers just trying to push me and shove me into trying to figure out what my career is going to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm 17, I'm 18, I don't even know what I'm going to do tomorrow, if I'm going to be honest with you. So I didn't really like that. I mean, I understand where they're coming from with trying, but at the same time, I consider high schoolers kids to me. I felt like a kid still.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was going to be doing for my whole life. I've switched job careers probably about 2 or 3 times in my mind since I've left high school and what I wanted to do. So
yep.
That was one of the reasons why I was kind of happy I didn't go to college. You obviously make the argument where you can get your generals done as well, which is a fair argument as well. But I've seen people spend a lot of money, and I mean, obviously it didn't help for the case where you went for a year and it was something that you didn't feel like you had any use for.
Yeah, well, luckily I only had to take out a loan for $5,000, which is as far as college goes, is relatively cheap because I was fortunate enough to where my parents helped out for the rest,
which is nice.
Definitely, it was nice, but that's still $5,000 that I have to pay back for a year of. Basically, in my eyes, was a waste. Mm-hmm. But obviously, if you want to be like a lawyer, or a doctor, or a teacher, those are things that you need to go to college for.
There are
to
careers
be able
you gotta go to college for.
Yeah. But as far as just like a straight up business major or something like that, that just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to spend all that money because just a general basic business degree doesn't really give you any more credibility than the next guy who has the same degree. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. And what I also found out just recently is every penny that a college takes in, so that's from tuition, room and board, their meal plans, their textbooks that they sell at their bookstore, any ticket sales for any of their events, any donations is all 100% tax-free. And that includes all private and public colleges.
Yeah.
So everything that they take in, they don't have to pay tax on.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that was part of the thing too. Whereas, I mean, that as well, which I didn't know that, but and going back to where I was talking about, I've seen people kind of change their majors. In your case, it really wasn't even that bad. You got out kind of lucky, but I've seen people change their majors honestly up to 3 times, which is absolutely nuts to me. And the amount of money is mind-boggling to me. That they're spending, or their parents are spending, or the bank is paying, which obviously ultimately they're gonna have to pay back at the end of the day. But it sucks to think about. And that was, like I said, that was one of the big reasons I didn't really choose college right away. Was I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do right away. So
yeah, and that's another thing too, is so many people go to school undecided.
Yeah.
Or they'll go in thinking, okay, so this is what I want to do, and then they take some of their classes and they're like, oh wait, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And they change, and that adds more time to your college, and you've paid for classes that aren't even like. So I really went to school for a year and a semester because I went to a state university, a 4-year degree, and then the following semester I went to an online tech school for something completely different. And I don't even know. I don't think I ended up having to pay for any of that. I don't know how the whole thing was, but when I went in to talk to him about transferring, I took 32 credits, so 16 a semester my first year. Yeah. And I think it was a total of 8 credits transferred to the tech school.
That's brutal.
Yeah. So brutal. It was like your basic English and your basic math were like the only ones that transferred. So then everything else that I took was an extra fee. So it's just ridiculous. So
that sucks.
I took a full year of college at just a regular 4-year university, and going to the tech school, I still would have had to do 2 full years unless I did summer classes too.
Oh,
so it doesn't make any sense, you know?
And I remember going out of high school, because like I said, they were really on you about what you wanted to do and try to figure something out so you can apply for colleges. And at first I chose what I want to do is I want to be a history teacher.
I remember that.
I like history. Yep. It's just something I do. And honestly, the guy that made me want to be a teacher was Goodwin, Mr. Goodwin. Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, Mr. Goodwin is an English teacher at our local high school. Probably the coolest teacher and coolest down-to-earth guy I've ever met.
Great teacher. And he was one of those teachers, too, that to me are rare, where I enjoy going to his class every day, but I would learn. And I would learn pretty well. I also had teachers in high school that I loved. I loved his people, and I loved them. I loved going to their class. They were fun, but I didn't really learn that much from them. And that was, you got to take the good with the bad. But with him, it was... I learned and I enjoyed going every day. So that was something where I figured, I'm like, I want to try to be a high school teacher or something like that. And then after about a year's time passed, I figured not so much. Yeah. And then I actually went in, because my uncle, he's a lineman technician. So he's the guy that works on those power cables. Yep. Super dangerous job, but they make pretty good money for sure in compensation for it. But then I kind of thought about doing that because lineman school is pretty short and it doesn't require college.
You went out to. He lives in Pennsylvania, correct?
Yeah.
And you went out there for a while, but I don't know exactly what you did out there. Well, you were doing some sort of electrical work for a while, weren't you?
So I actually job shot him a couple times just to kind of get an idea of what the field's like and just kind of figure out what job is from start to finish in a day's time. And I didn't mind it, and then no knock on what he does, but I just kind of figure it might be something that's not for me, and it's that doesn't mean it's not for other people as well. So I did that, and going out to Pennsylvania was, I wouldn't say it was the most fun time of my life, but it wasn't. It was not.
Okay. Yep.
But it was life changing to me. Yeah. Because I left. So imagine a kid from Minnesota and he moves. He just packs up his shit and goes. Yeah. Gets his own apartment, gets his own full-time job, and basically just
figures it out.
Yeah, I honestly had to figure it out. And not saying I didn't really get help from my parents, but it was something where I really didn't want help, if that makes any sense. Yep. It was like, I'm going to figure this out, and it's going to be a sink or swim option. Yeah. And then I remember that I did labor. I was a laborer for a company, and it was, what was it, man? It was...
And when you say labor, what kind of labor were you doing?
Bro, it was bad. It was like digging ditches on the side of roads. It was underground excavation work. Okay. Or excavation work, a lot of stuff like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. Job sucked. I hated it. Yeah. But I found out the value of hard work, and that kind of helped me, because it was just one of those jobs for your hands. I get blisters on my hands all the time, and it was just a grind of a job. And then I keep in mind, I'm still 18 and I'm bouncing all over the place.
You're not 18 now.
No, I'm 21 now.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was
Yeah,
still 18, and I bounced around a couple jobs. I got an internship job, and this was or temp service.
Temp job.
Yeah, so I did just about anything, dude. I did. I worked for a sheet metal factory.
Okay.
I worked at a pretzel factory. Will say that's the worst job I've ever had in my life.
Like a pretzel factory, you're making like the crispy, like chip pretzels, or like
You bake them and then you package them.
and you're talking like the rolled gold type.
Yes, those worst job.
Tiny little ones?
Yes, worst job I ever had in my life.
Really?
Yes. Reason being was it. So every week you work 3 days 1 week and you work 4, 3, 4, 3, and so on.
Yep.
These shifts were 6 to 6, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Jeez.
And the people I worked with were pretty much all Hispanic.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to anyone
Yeah.
for 12 hours, right?
Yeah.
And I'd get there before the sun rose and I'd leave before the sun or after the sun set. So I didn't see sunlight for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it was brutal. And I'm a pretty social guy, so I like to just kind of like talk to people at work, and it sucked. And I wasn't working with people my age either, and it was.
Is that your phone ringing?
Yeah.
Who's calling? Who is it?
My coach from Tahoe. He's calling me.
Tell Mickey to go away.
True. I don't know what he wants. I'll call him back later. But yeah, so this job.
Okay, real question for you.
Yeah.
Did you eat any of the pretzels?
No, I don't like pretzels anymore.
Why? Is it gross? Don't tell me. I love pretzels.
I don't dislike pretzels, but I don't really look at them like the same anymore, and I just kind of like, it reminds me of the pretzel factory.
Sure.
But yeah, that job was probably the worst one I ever had, and then I worked there, and then that was kind of winding down my time in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, because you came back shortly. You were there for, what were you there, 9 months? Or were you there for a full year?
I was almost a full year.
Almost a full year?
Yeah, almost 4 year, which sucked because I ended up moving back, but I had to obviously pay the rest of my lease.
Yeah.
And also, too, that was another thing where I got to pay my lease. This was my own rent I was paying,
Yep.
all of my own bills I was paying.
Yep.
Besides phone. I was just still connected to my parents.
Yep.
So I was on
And that's pretty common. Most people do. And even like my previous boss at my previous job, he was still on a family plan,
Yeah.
So I mean, and he was almost 30.
Yeah.
It's just pretty common now because you end up getting a cheaper plan if you're
Yeah.
with family members.
And like I said, I mean, in retrospect, I didn't really enjoy my time out there at all.
Yeah.
My aunt and uncle were, they were great to me.
Yeah.
But
it's a good experience to move out on your own, and especially coming from a small town in northern Minnesota. There's a lot of land. There's a lot of living.
There's so
out there.
much places to go.
Yeah.
And that was good for me, honestly. So that was good for me. Did I like it? No, but looking back on it, was it good for me? I bet it's same again.
Tell him to freaking go away.
But yeah, so that was.
Yeah, look at this. So we've got pulled up right now on the TV screen. Oh my gosh, what are people calling me now? Holy smokes!
We're gonna go on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, no kidding.
I got a call from Miami Beach, Florida now.
Oh, wonder what they're calling for. Anyways, we've got a thing pulled up right now on our TV that says it's a live thing of how much Americans owe in student debt and estimated, and it is at $1,531,802. Oh no, that's more than that. That's a trillion. $1,531,802,000,000, and it just keeps going up by like 10,000 every what would you say? Like every 15 seconds, it goes up by at least 10,000.
Yeah, at least.
So Americans owe over $1.5 trillion in student debt, and all student debt, you can never get away from it. If you declare bankruptcy, you still get your student debt.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds miserable to me. That sounds like
it just keeps going up and up. When does it stop? The way that I look at it is, it's going to get to a point where people can't pay back their student loans, and there's people who can't pay back their student loans already. I don't know. I think it's probably the next downturn in our economy will be because of student loans.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It's not good for sure. And obviously it's just kind of how it goes right now. And obviously in the last election cycle, they had people that were really, really pushing for free college, or at least fat discount on college.
Yeah, but the trouble you got to think about there is, if we're not paying for it ourselves as we go.
Mhm.
Who does pay for it?
Yeah.
And it goes into your taxes,
Uh-huh.
which taxes are already high enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
It's just crazy.
Well, and I'm kind of in the class range where it's college doesn't really help me out too much. And what I mean by that is I'm not really a super low income, really poor family where I
Right.
can get a lot of financial aid. But on
Right.
the flip side, my family's not like loaded with money.
Yeah.
So it's kind of puts me in that middle
Well,
class range.
And it's interesting that you say that too, because filling out our FAFSA, like whenever I went to college and when my sister went to college, there is a gap. So it's like if you make under this much, you get financial aid, and if your parents make over a certain amount, you get financial aid. And we were right in the middle.
Yeah.
So I got
I didn't
literally
know that.
nothing.
Yeah. I didn't know that, but yeah. So that doesn't help much if for the middle people, the middle class people.
No.
That's quite a good chunk of the country for sure. But yeah, no, the debt's pretty brutal. I will say that.
Yeah. It just keeps going up too. It's just like whatever.
Well,
That stuff just gets me just totally riled up because there's too many people that just go to college just to party and
yeah,
you get so far in debt. It's just like I get the experience is cool and like living in a dorm.
That's something I understand too. Is
and
the experience is great.
You meet people, but the experience isn't worth $16,000 a year. You know.
No, for me, it doesn't. But
Right.
Yeah.
Well, for most people, it just doesn't make any sense to spend that kind of money and put yourself in debt at such a young age, just to have an experience.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It just whatever.
Yeah, and there's definitely people that just go where they're just loaded with money and they just kind of like fuck off in college.
Yeah.
And they just get drunk and they do a bunch of blow and they go absolutely nuts. So it's like, shit. I mean, if you got the money for it, I guess I'm not stopping you. Are you looking on CNN right now?
Yeah,
Are you
I'm looking
actually
at
on
CNN. I don't like CNN, but
Oh my god.
there's just looking at news. It's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just too much stuff going on, and whatever. I'm off. I'm getting off CNN. CNN can go away.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really done too much with the news lately. I've been literally so invested in the NHL playoffs, to be honest, and a little bit of basketball playoffs.
Basketball playoffs, forget it.
Yeah.
I don't watch basketball. It's just never been an interest for me.
Yeah.
But the hockey playoffs, I used to watch really closely. Like I used to watch almost every game, and there was times where I'd have 4 games pulled up at once, watching all 4.
Yeah.
And it most likely was because I was betting on all games.
Yeah.
Gambling or whatever.
I do want to get into betting on sports games because I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable with
Yeah.
sports and
Well, hockey is so tough though, because what I was doing was I was doing DraftKings, where you pick a lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so hard to tell
Mm-hmm.
because there'd be some nights where I'd do really well and my team that I would pick would do like really, really well,
Mm-hmm.
and there'd be other nights where I'd pick like, all the big names like Ovechkin and Crosby, and like you have like a stacked line where you're like,
and doesn't it cost more to get like the dirty players, right?
Well,
it's like a trade-off or something.
Nope. So on DraftKings, what it is like you get a salary cap and you had to stay within the salary cap.
Yeah.
And then each player is judged by goals and assists and penalty minutes.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff
stats.
like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's.
So you did
it's
that
crazy.
for a bit?
What's that?
So you did that for a bit, some DraftKings.
Yeah.
I think I remember you
nights.
talking about that.
There was one night where I finally got into stacking lines. So like my center, my right wing, and my left wing would all be on a line together from one team, which is really risky to do. But if that line does really well, then you get a ton of points.
Yeah.
And I remember there was one night that I stacked. This is when Datsuk still played, and I stacked his line. And I don't remember exactly who was on it at the time, but they ended up scoring. That line alone scored like 4 or 5 goals. So I won that bracket that I was in, or that tournament or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
By like 200 some points.
No way.
But the thing that sucked is I would always do double or triple ups. So you pay like say $10 entry fee, and instead of a double up, then you win $20 if you're in the top 5 out of like 50.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, if I would have taken that line and put it in like a big tournament, you know,
yeah,
where there could be, say, 1,000 people in, and you each pay $5 in.
Yeah.
The top prize is normally like $1,000 or more.
Yeah.
And I looked at one of them that I was gonna enter with that line, and I would have won it, and it was like $1,500, and instead I won 30.
That sucks.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
But it's like when you play fantasy football.
Yeah.
On DraftKings or even baseball.
Yeah.
On there, it's much more. What's the word I'm looking for? Predictable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or in hockey, you don't know because your guy, you could get Ovechkin, let's just say, and you pay a good portion of your salary cap to get Ovechkin, and in the first shift he gets hurt. Then you don't get any points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to try to predict what it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm
So
probably
more
going to
or
get more
less
betting
just-
on games, I think, because what I'm going to do for the
Just
next
straight
season.
up games.
Yeah, I think I'm going to bet on games. It's kind of interesting to me, but I fucking wasted like 3 of my hours last night because I was watching the Warriors-Rockets game.
Yeah.
Don't even know why I watched because I knew it was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Because like the Warriors won. But
I don't like basketball personally.
yeah.
I can't watch it. I feel like if I went to like a Timberwolves game in person, it'd be sick.
Yeah.
But watching it on TV, it's like watching golf. I love golfing, but I cannot watch golf on TV unless it's the Masters. But it's like you watch it for a little bit and then you just stop watching it.
Yeah.
Or just do the simple thing and just look online.
Yeah.
You can just look on Twitter or Facebook and you'll see highlights and everything from the Masters or So yeah, I have no idea what's going on in the NHL playoffs.
Didn't Tiger win the Masters too?
Tiger won the Masters, yeah.
That's sick.
It was like his first Masters win in a while, actually.
Yeah, you got to think because that was a big comeback in sports for sure. And people be like, "Oh, like yeah, fucking golf's not a sport," but like,
dude, I love golfing.
yeah, golf's fun to me.
It is the most frustrating sport I've ever played by far.
I suck at golf. I'm brutal at it.
Dude, it's like you could be playing so good. If I went back to like in high school, there was one summer where my drive off the tee box was like dead straight 300 yards, 250 yards, right? If there's no wind, obviously, but it was just like dead straight. Ever since then, I've golfed every summer since. I cannot fix my drive. I have to, like, if the hole's straight ahead, I have to aim like way to the left because every time I hit, it'll go straight off the golf club. So it's going where I don't want it to go, and then it curls around.
That sucks.
So it slices, and it's just like, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I'm bad at
because I
golf.
cannot figure it out. I've changed my stance, I've changed my grip, I've changed like everything,
Yeah.
and nothing works. I just don't get it. But yeah, anyways, Tiger, this is 18. Tiger celebrates after sinking his putt on the 18th to win the Masters. Did you know my dad told me that there was a guy that bet that Tiger would win?
Yeah.
And he bet like 38 grand and he won like 3.8 million or something.
Yeah. That's nuts. I would not have.
Okay. This stuff pisses me off. When you go on a website and it instantly says you're using ad block and you can't look at the website unless you just either disable it or pay.
Yeah.
It's
they're
I
finally
mean, I
onto
get it
us in
because
ad
that's how a lot of websites make money, but it's like, come on.
Yeah.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than, like, could you imagine if YouTube gave you an option to where you could just not show people your video if they had ad block on?
Yeah. That'd suck.
It'd make no sense.
Nobody
would end up watching your content
I
because
use YouTube with ad block all the time.
I cannot. I've had ad block since I found out about it probably 7 years ago. And I literally, if I go on somebody else's computer or like on a phone,
Yeah.
and I go on like websites that I normally go on,
Yeah,
it's
so
just like
annoying.
unbearable.
Yeah, it's annoying.
It just ads everywhere.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate seeing ads all the time, but
Yeah, it drives me absolutely nuts. But that's the age we live in, you know?
mm-hmm.
You got to make money somehow.
Yeah. Whatever though, I mean. But yeah, anyway, so NHL playoffs, have you kind of heard a little bit about it or? Okay, for one.
I watched like the first set of games, but
Yeah.
other than that, I just haven't really watched
That's
many.
fine.
No.
That means I can explain what happened. So for one, Minnesota didn't make it this year. Okay.
I did know that.
So that was an ouchie.
They were in a wild card spot for a while.
Yeah, but then
and then
Dallas,
they shit the bed.
Dallas and the Avalanche absolutely turned on the burners. Like they were in they were just on another level. But so this playoffs has been absolutely whack, and I like this, but it kind of pisses me off because I made a bracket. I had so many picks wrong. Brackets completely shot, right? So we'll start with Tampa. They almost broke the record for most regular wins in a season. Everyone's favorite to win. Their roster is loaded. It was their roster's gross, but they got swept 4-0 to the Blue Jackets. I believe we're a wild card team. Yeah, they were a wild card team.
Yeah.
Blue Jackets swept them. So an interesting fact about that is the Lightning haven't won a playoff game in I think they're 0-6 in their last 6 playoff games.
Yeah.
Because they played the Capitals last year in the Eastern Conference Finals to go to the Cup, and they lost the last 2 games to lose ultimately. And then you want to talk about teams like Winnipeg. They were another heavy favorite out.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh out.
I feel like it was a lot of upsets this year, wasn't it?
Pittsburgh got swept by the Islanders, right?
And that's crazy because my dad was in some draft he does with all of his buddies or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said that originally he got the Islanders, but they had to redo the thing, and he ended up with Pittsburgh, and he thought that was a better pick.
Yeah.
And then Islanders ended up
Yeah.
winning it.
And then Carolina played Washington, who's off. That's like my team, right? I love the Capitals. They went to 7 games with. Okay, they went to 7 games with Carolina. Carolina beat them, advanced, played that winner of that Penguins Islanders series.
Yep.
They swept the Islanders 4-0, right? So now and then Boston's kind of been in the mix there, and they played Toronto that first round, and they beat them in another game 7. They lost to the same team.
So what is it now? Is it the semifinals?
Conference finals.
Conference finals?
Conference finals.
So there's how many teams left?
4.
4 teams, and it's
Sharks,
Blues.
out west there, and out east we got Boston and Carolina.
Carolina, that's wild. They've been like one of the worst teams in the NHL for a while.
You see, Don Cherry, right?
You
don't know who Don Cherry is. He's that old guy that wears those stupid ass suits on a Canadian broadcasting station or whatever.
Oh, with the circle glasses? No. That's the guy from the state tournament.
Anyway, he's just like he's a hockey icon, but he just says all this outrageous shit all the time. But he basically, I believe it was him that called the Carolina Hurricanes just a bunch of jerks, and now they're just being annoying about it, and they're kind of that's their thing. We're a bunch of jerks, and then Don Cherry put another one about the other day. He's like, I know they're doing good, but doesn't mean that they don't have a bunch of front running fans. Because he's like, all these Carolina fans just came up out of nowhere. He's like, these guys are just front runners. They haven't really followed the franchise. So I was like, I'm not even really bothered by it anymore. So I thought that was kind of funny. He put them on blast, and I saw a lot of the Carolina fans throwing shade when they beat the Caps, which I was kind of pissed about. But yeah, definitely weird playoffs for sure, but kind of interesting.
Well, I hate to cut it short, but we're almost right at 30 minutes, and our camera that's currently recording Mitch is almost dead. So apparently the battery life sucks, and I'll have to get a power supply for it, like a continuous power like the other camera has. But this has been the first episode of the Nymore Boys podcast. Yeah. Make sure to follow us on all of our social medias. Go and give us a like rating on Apple iTunes if we're on there.
Bro,
I don't know if we're going to be on there yet.
Not even leave a like rating, just leave a rating.
Yeah.
Just leave a rating, honest opinions. Yeah. If you want to say that podcast fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. Plus you're getting ratings at the end of the day, so it just helps us out, and then you can chirp all you want. So
that's just opening the floodgates now. But let us know if we should change anything in the description or in the comment section down below on the YouTube channel. And
that's gonna be on everything, right?
That should be everything
YouTube,
I can think
SoundCloud,
of.
Spotify.
Yeah. All of the social links are in the description. So definitely go and follow us over there. We want to try to get this to a weekly thing, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyways, thanks for watching. See you later.
See ya.